Recording the learners today to discuss on culture, society, and human ecology. It's a part of our course MSD 013 first block to discuss on this broad area on culture, society, and human ecology. We have with us one of the young anthropologists who trained from University of Delhi under renowned anthropologists, different renowned anthropologists of India, and now teaching at Manipur University, Imphal. Before that, he was teaching in Guru Ghasidas University, that is in Bilaspur. Uh, I know him from the last 15, 20 years. He's a hardcore researcher in this area. I welcome you, Dr. Yaiphaba, and we're sure you will be, you will share your experience in this area of human ecology and social anthropology. With this, I again welcome you and invite you to start the session.
Thank you, Dr. Kuman. It's a really pleasure for me to be here and sharing the whatsoever I know regarding this topic, the culture, society, and human ecology, to all the learners here. So it's really my privilege to be part of this session, this interaction.
Yeah, Trevor, please 1 minute. आपका please let us आपका sitting position से थोड़ा सा change कर लो. We are not
Okay.
able sitting.
How's
थोड़ा सा back ले लो. Back.
Okay,
Sitting
fine.
for.
Is it
Okay,
okay?
pass. Yeah.
Okay, then
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, yeah. So it's a really privilege for me to be associated with the ICNO, and it's my privilege to share whatsoever I know regarding in this topic. So without much delaying, let's go to the topic that we are going to discuss. It's about the culture, society, and human ecology. So in this session or in this discussion, what we are going to discuss mainly is that we will try to throw a light on the meaning and the functions of the culture and society, and that are interlinking in each other. And we're also trying to see bring up the concept of the human ecology, and we also try to highlight the importance of traditional cultural beliefs in ecosystem management. So this is the main objective of the today's discussion. So as we know that the human is a social animal, and see, if we think human as an animal, so it's very much interesting in the sense that when we talk about the human, so we have come across about the concept of the human evolution. So the question arises is that what makes human unique and different from other animals, and what are the qualities that human have from that differ from the other animals. So as we know that in the process of the human evolution, there has been a remarkable changes in the morphological, physiological, or simply you can say the biological or say genetical changes occurs in the whole process of the human evolution. And maybe because of that, that human has today's physical features that are distinguished from the other other humans, other animals. But while talking about these things, in the process of the human evolution, what happened, there has been a report that in the whole process of the human evolution, there has been different hominid saying that human like animals, you can say that. So the present, not the present human, you can say the extinct human. So where also existed at one time. But it was very interesting to know that what are the things that the human, the present human, so-called the living human have that the extinct human didn't have. So if we talk about the biologically characteristics, it says that even the extinct human called the Homo neanderthalensis or Neanderthal man, commonly known as a Neanderthal man, so they have possess more advanced characteristics in terms of the biological, in terms of the physical characteristic than the present human or the living human. Saying that so they have huge cranial capacity in the sense that they have more brain volume, so they are supposed to be more intellectual or something like that. But in the context, in the present context, what we understood is that the Neanderthal man has extinct or has eliminated out from the world scenario, and then only the living human is the modern human, or you can say the present human, the Homo sapiens. So here in this part, what is very much interesting in this concern is that what are the features that the present human have that are completely distinguished from the other animals or the extinct humans. This is the social evolution, not the physical evolution, not the biological evolution. Social evolution in the form of the language is the landmark in the in the development or in the formation of the human so-called human society or human culture. So in this regard, it will be very much interesting if we to know that there is one theory called gossip theory by the Robin Derwin. So what it says that the gossip theory is one of the important characteristics or the features that human has possessed in the overall process of the human evolution. So through the gossip theory, so what does the gossip theory says that? See, when you talk about the communication, language is very much important, as we know that. But the expression with the to seek the sympathy, to feel the empathy. So we need the well explanation of the this terminology. So that creates the gossip theory. So in the gossip theory, what it suggests that so gossip theory in the gossiping, human naturally has a tendency to gossip. That's what it says that. So in the gossiping, what happened? The human group they make a group of smaller community. So they make who can be in the group, who cannot be in the group, who can listen that gossip, who cannot listen that gossip. So such kind of small formation of the group through the gossiping might lead to the formation of the the so-called the society that we are going to talk in the present discussion. So the a society or human society is a group of people involved with each other through persistent relations or a large grouping sharing the same geographical or same social territory. Is typically subject to the same political authority and the dominant cultural expectation. So as we know that, so what is a society? Society is a group of people, in fact, but generally they're supposed to be share a territory. They're supposed to be share a geographical, a boundary, and at the same time there should be a kind of cultural expectation and the socio-political authority will be there. So saying that, so simply if I understood or if I say that, so societies is just group of individuals. So when you talk about the group of individuals, even the animal can have the group, right? So how the animal society can be different from the human society? So suppose as an example, a flocks of the chimpanzee, whether they can be called a society, or a bunch of ants, they used to move together. So whether they can be called as a society. So when you talk about the animal society and human society, obviously society is about the grouping, but animal society is mainly based on instincts and the reflex behavior, whereas human society is based on the reason and the rational behavior. So that is very much important. In the human, we go by the rational, we go by the reasonable. So there are no rights and duties in human society, while in human society we are bounded by social rights, social obligations, social duties, etc. Every animal lives upon his physical powers, whereas human society has a wonderful system of law and order. So again, that's important, characteristics that you can say that in the animal society there is there generally goes by the physical powers. Those who can control the others, they become the leaders. But in our human society, there is a system of you can say the system of socio-political system where there is the like systematically selection of the leaders or something like that. So this is the main differences between the animal society and the human society. So in fact, we can say that there are rules, there are beliefs, there are tradition, there are customs, there are norms, there are patterns in the human society that's are absent in the animal groupism. So now here coming to the concept of the society. What is a society? I think everybody must be maybe already much aware about the concept of society, but let's try to dig more on the concept of society. So when you talk about a society, what is society? Society is a wave of relation, a complex system of uses and procedures of authority and the mutual aid in many groupings and the divisions of control of human behavior and liberties. That's a concept given by McAvey in the page 1950. So in fact, what we can say, society is the wave. It's kind of a spider wave of relation wherein the human become a prominent part, and the interactive relation between this is an every member of the society. They are controlled by the that's control the our human behavior and the levity, that kind of mutual helping, mutual understanding, and mutual division in this group, that is about the society. So it is the largest group to which any individuals belongs, and sharing a territory. And as we know that we all humans are belong to some part of the society. We are belong to a local society, maybe at the greater in context we can say we, or as an Indian, we belong to the Indian society altogether. So it's the largest group where we the individual belongs to. So, in another concept, if well, elaborating more on the concept, we can say that so society is a network of relationships through the organized groupings of individuals have a sense of belongingness by a given area, as I said earlier already, as social institutions, structures, and this constitute a unity against the strangers or enemies. So, in fact, what happens? So, it's a kind of network of relationship. So, where different social institution and social structures are maintained, and it divides the stranger or the a part of the member or outsider or insider of that particular society. And the society is not only the structure of the component of the organization of groups of individual, but it takes into account the functional aspect of those individuals. So it will be wrong to say that society is just about the structure or how explaining the relationship between the individuals. It also has a functional aspect of these individuals. So that functional aspects will be defined by the culture. So which we are coming in the next slide. Human beings are allowed to live in groups to establish relationships and to fulfill needs. As we know that we human cannot survive alone. We need a kind of interaction, a kind of relationship with other fellows to live peace and harmony. So this network of relationship is controlled and organized by certain set of rules and regulation where individuals are conformed to behave in accordance with it. So that kind of relationship between each and every member of individuals are controlled, or they're set up by the rules and regulation, like the who can be, what can be done or what cannot be done, kind of regulations to control each and every behavior of the individuals to maintain the harmony and the peace in their society. This group of individuals develops into a complex component of various ethnic groups having different tradition and custom. So these different society have different customs and traditions with respect to its system. So when talk about the society, the importance of the structure of the society. So how we are going to define the structure of the society? The social structure is a totality of the culture pattern and the relationship found among the members of the society that maintain a balanced nature. It may be in terms of resource management to the techno-economic system or political legal system. So simply, what I will say that the social structures nothing is the structure we see in the society, the rules and regulation to bind each and individual in the society. That is the social structure. So the my relationship with someone or my relationship with others, to A person, to B person, or to C persons, they are defined by the social obligation that are defined by the social rule. That's a part of the social structure. To draw the human history, there are multitudes of social structure based on nature, evolution, and development. The social structure constitutes all the social facts, principles governing the organization of the society. So A.R.A.Q. Brown, he suggests that he defines that the component of the social structure is the human beings. Obviously, as we know that the human beings live in the human society. So without a human, the society can exist. So that the main components of the society is the human, but the structure refers that arrangement of this human in a institutionally defined relationship and roles, a kind of relationship, a kind of roles, maybe the ascribed or with active roles or status. So on the basis of that, the arrangement of the person, that will be the social structure. The unit of the social structure can are the interpersonal relation, which become a part of the social structures in the form of status, uh, position occupied by individuals. So important here is that so important units of social structure is the interpersonal relationship, which is controlled through the rules and regulation. So coming to the structure of the society, mainly what happened generally all over the world. Generally, so far reported is the two kind of structures reported. One is the class structure, one is the caste structure. So in the as we know that in India we have the caste structure. That's caste structure is a hierarchical vertical structure where there is the and the individual has been assigned, or as individual has been given the roles or the status according to the caste or the say what say umbrella that the people exist. So as we know that in Indian context or Indian society, so there is a so-called kind of rules that has been defined that a Brahmin are supposed what's supposed to do, and the Kshatriya are what's supposed to do, and the Vaishya what's supposed to do. Likewise, whatsoever each and every member in a particular community or in a particular say what say caste, so they are given a particular say rule and a particular status, so which is controlled by the social structure of the India. So any kind of this orientation or this movement or what you can say any kind of distortion in this structure of the so-called in the Indian caste system may lead to chaos in the society. But at the same time, also I will come at the later part. So as the because of this inequality in terms of the social position, sometimes what happen it will lead to the exploitation of the individuals or the resources also. So again, it could lead to the chaosity in the society. But saying that, so it's a very much complex to understand the what's that the system of the structure. But what I would suggest, what I would say that, so when you talk about the society, when you talk about the culture, so if we believe completely that the no one is, let's say, I mean, everybody is equal in the eyes of the law, and there is no any discrimination in terms of the what's that, the position or in terms of caste. So, and if we believe in the concept of equality to each and everyone, accept the concept of the if someone is not ethnocentric, then the structure of the caste system it has very much meaningful. But when we have the negative connotation of the caste system, when we exploit it and when we discriminate someone of the lower or inferior status, so that's the chaosities arises. So obviously the structure has the plus point and a minus point also. And in Indian context, as I would like to mention again, what happened, the caste system in the so-called, this is the ascribed status. So the status has been given according to the by birth, you can say. And while another system, so for commonly popular all over the world, is a class system. So in the class system, people achieve the higher classes because of his capability, because of his work performance, or because of his intellectuality. So this is a asset status in the caste system. What we have is a ascribed status. So coming to the concept of the culture, and the culture is the main made part of the environment. So it's the you can say it is a part of the environment. You can say it's a abiotic environment. I mean, we talk about ecological concept. We can say like that. But it's the main part of the environment, and it is a complex term which includes what people believe, create, and accept as a true of the environment or the world. And the culture includes expression of our shared beliefs, values, ideas, and into several norms and patterns passing across the generation. And it is a totality of learned socially transmitted behavior. So culture can be learned, culture cannot be inherited. Human beings acquire the resources from the surrounding to satisfy their biological needs that makes the culture. So here, as I said earlier in the beginning of the slide, where when you talk about the functioning characteristics of the society, what happened say in the human society, what happened, the culture defines the functional part of the society. Suppose the as we know that human beings are also a part of, also any man, we have the biological needs, we have the biological desire. So to control the biological needs, to control the biological desires, what happened, the culture institution or social institution has been established, and the cultural norms, cultural patterns, cultural beliefs, values has been added up. Suppose as an example, when you talk about the culture of marriages as the cultural practices associated with the marriages. So what happens? So marriage has been legalized in our society to control the sexual behavior or to control the sexual urges of the human in different society. So it can be say the coming of the culture elements in the as in the form of marriage. So what happened? It controlled the biological functions of the society. So to maintain or to link of the individuals together in the society. So if when we talk about the next concept, it's given by the E.B. Taylor. It's one of the famous concept. So it says that culture is the complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, laws, moral, customs, and any other capabilities acquired by man as a member of society. So culture is very much complex things. It includes each and everywhere everything what we human do. It includes our knowledge system. It includes about our tradition. It includes our the belief system. It includes our arts, music, dance, etc. Also, it also includes the law, morals, customs, any kind of capability that acquire man as a member of the society. So this complex whole is said to constitute different units of man and his work, thoughts and behavior that include both tangible and intangible aspects of the culture. So culture is learned, as I said earlier, not inherited through the different process of the interaction, maybe the inculturation, where a child it's taught or the child is taught to learn the culture of own, and acculturation, where kind of cultural context. Suppose an example, say if someone is coming to stay in the Manipur for a longer period of time, and somehow, somewhere, slowly, the person will learn to adopt the bits of the Manipuri culture to some extent. So this is a part of the acculturation. And without our knowledge, acculturation is still going on. As an example, in Indian context, also we as an Indian, we try to bring up new cultural elements that maybe practice somewhere in the part of India. So likewise, so a smaller group or the other, one group try to imitate or try to bring up another part, another culture to its own. This is a part of the culture learning process. So society refers to the people and their social organization. So and culture is learn and share values of the life. So when to about these things, so what I mean is that the society and culture, they are like the two faces of the coin. They are intertwined each other. So it cannot be separated. So they always go together. That's why some in some study, people used to refer as a socio-cultural practices or socio-cultural something like that. But what is the difference between is that so society is about the organization, it's about structure, how the peoples are link up. That is about the society, but the culture is about the values. So this without these values, the individual's interaction or the link up of the individuals or people cannot be happen. So that's why the society and the culture always go together. And man survives through the vagaries of the nature because of its cultural apparatus. So human has developed different culture elements in the courses of the human evolution, and because of that, they can survive in different parts of the world. As I think we need to about the ecological part in Ecology. So as we know that the people and the human is one of the animal that has distributed all over the world. So they are distributed in the forest area, they are distributed in the coal area, they are distributed in the hot area, they are distributed in different environmental contexts, in environment condition. But so still the humans survive in different environmental condition. So maybe we can bear the burden of heat, we can bear the burden of the coal also. So how is it possible? It's possible because of the cultural element that the human has adopted to fit off with the uh, with the environment. So here in this regard, I would like to bring one of the important concept, that is a cultural structure. It's like the social, likewise social structure. There is a cultural structure, and what is the cultural structure? Let's see. In the cultural structure, what is more important is the cultural norm that is make us aware, restrict us within the purview of the certain structure and to function as well as a society. And when talk about the cultural structure, the important part is the cultural trait. And how we define cultural trait? The cultural trait can be defined as the smallest and unit of the culture and the minimal defining element of a culture. a kind of element, a kind of trait, thing that we observe in a particular system or a particular, uh, say, what's that? So it will be cultural dress. As an example, say what I would say that. And maybe it may be the material culture, it may be the non-material culture, it may be the maybe an item, it may be the values. Suppose as an example in the Hindu marriage system, so what say the kind of the sat fairy, 7 times around and off. So what is that? That value has been added up. So the concept has been added up. So the logical concept has been, Western concept has been added up in that context. So this can be a part of the cultural trait. So, so the concept of the cultural trait and complexes in the structure of the culture, it's very unique, giving a sense of understanding of culture complexity. Cultural traits are defined as the smallest unit of culture and the minimal definable element of culture. The combination of various cultural traits into a functional network or relationship is called the culture complex. So if we see in the picture, so whatever we have the value, we have the ritual, we have the symbol, we have the practices. So all together it give the culture complex. But the main core is the cultural traits. So this is the value or maybe the ritual, maybe the small things. So the assemble of this small cultural, maybe in terms of the value or maybe in terms of the material culture. As an example, if I say there are suppose if there is a community, say Toda community of the Nilgiri Hills. So in the Toda community, what happened? They are pastoral society. So the association of the so the belief they have with their cows, it's very much important in bringing in understanding the whole system of the Tota cultures. So likewise, they are the cultural trait. So as the cow can be a cultural trait, so in the Tota society. Likewise, so what happened? The cultural trait can be differ from society to society, but it's saying that the cultural trait, the assembles of the cultural traits, it's define the complexity, the cultural complex. So these traits and complexes of cultures are based on the basic components of cultures as values, norms, belief for ways, more. So obviously, which are different from one culture to another culture. In saying that from one society to another society. So that is what we call the cultural diversity. As we know that the people living in the Northeast India and the people living in the North India or people living in the South India or the people living in other part of India, say suppose Western India, they have different cultural patterns, they have different cultural norms, they have different cultural values. So obviously, what happens? Obviously, the I mean, as a the in the universal psyche of the human being, the marriage and the family will be the same, but the logic behind the material use behind and the concept used behind the even the small things, so they are different from each other. That is about the cultural diversity. So uh, so when you talk about the cultural diversity, I think that one of the most important thing we have to understood is that we have to understand is that so one no culture is superior than others. So each and every cultures are unique. It's in own. So generally, people have that kind of notion. The our cultures is superior, then lower their cultures are less, inferior or something like that. But cultures are unique in its own way. So there is no way to compare one culture to another culture. This is points to be noted here. So coming to the forms of society, in the overall process of the human evolution, as if we believe about the gossip theory that we discussed earlier, say the formation of the group. So what happened? So it led to the formation of the society. So the formation this group, so maybe so they are very much associated with the economical activities. The society has been immersed on the basis of the economic activities of the people over here. So in course of the human society forms, so earlier the first society form that human have come across is the about hunting and gathering society, where the people rely or totally dependent on the natural resources, where they collect the foods and fruits from the forages, and human used to hunt the small animals. So it's completely dependent on the natural resources. It's a hunting and gathering society where the people may the group of the people, the society they may have may be very much simple as compared to the society we have as of now. Then this hunting gathering society, what happened? It moved to the horticultural society where they know the domestication of the plants, particularly not agriculture as not at the big large scale. So they and the pastoral society where the domestication of the plants may arises. And this horticultural society and pastoral society again, they are uh, they don't much contribute to the development of the society, the present from the society as such. But the coming of the agricultural society, so this is a very much important landmark. So coming of the agricultural society from the horticultural and pastoral society, so it's leads a lot of changes in the overall the evolution of the human society and culture. You can say that. Now and after that, it's coming to the industrial society and the post-industrial society. So what happened here, my point over here is that what I will say that, so in each every society forms, what happened, we human has a kind of interaction in every society. We have social, we have the society, gathering society or hunting society. They are bound by their social obligation, they are bound by social relationship, and accordingly their cultural traits or cultural complexes or cultural practices or values and beliefs has been created. But with the changes of the society, the cultural or the the things has been changes or has been more become more complexity. And if we see the overall process of the evolution of the society, so we can picturize main four revolution. The first revolution is the domestication of plants and animals, and this domestication of plants and animals, what happened, it could lead to the this horticultural and pastoral society. And the second revolution is agriculture. So coming up the agriculture, what happened, the people used to settle in a particular environment or in a particular place. Before that, what we believe that the human might have move one from one place to other places in search of food, in search of what's say, better resources, particularly as that in the hunting gathering society. Suppose as an example, even the pastoral society, so they has to be associated with the animals. So they has to find out a particular environment where they can have a good food for the animals. So if they cannot be survived in in one particular environment for a longer period of time. So generally they are having the nomadic culture, nomadic lifestyle. But the coming of the agriculture, they have settled, and we just settle the social stratification, then the market system, money system, urbanization. A lot of changes has come. And the third revolution, that's industrial. With the coming of industrialization, what happened is our complete city, towns, and the working period, the complexity of the society has come up. And now there is a post-industrial society where now in the present scenario is belong to. So that is the information scenario. Now we are interacting through the online communication or online teaching methods. So it is kind of post-industrial society. So what I said that in each society, it determines the status, it determines the role, it determines the social institution, it determines the group, structure, beliefs, labor, values, tradition, ritual, etc. So it's every societal forms they have different rules and status, different social I mean rules and regulation, or etc. So now coming to the social institution and sustainability. So this is very much important in a society. The social institution are defined as a established form of procedures. They establish rules of roles and role sets of interpersonal relationships which are considered legitimate as well as suitable to almost all members of a group are called social institution. So social institution are a part, a kind of procedures or kind of form, roles or the set of roles for individuals or legitimate individual or legitimate rules for individual in the society. So they become a means to the process of the survival as well as the continuation of the society. And these institutions are interdependent and interrelated to the success of the mankind. Generally, in the human society, we have a different social institution and the the most important thing is a family, or in some taxes we also say the marriages also, but here it's not the marriages. Economics, religion, education, state. So these all the different social institutions, they are interrelated to each other, and they are organized or recognized in such a way that the systematic network can be maintained, and they remain functional to maintain the harmonic and the sustainability of the community. Suppose, as I said earlier, the family, what they do, the family uh, give provide a medium of inculturation uh, to learn the younger generation from the older generation. So it provides. So likewise, marriage, what happens? So it controls the a kind of sexual curiosity that supposed to be happen in the society. Likewise, the religion, what they do, they controls the let's say the belief system. They controls the moral characters of the individual in a particular society. And likewise, state, it controls the law and order and kind of the political what's say the authority, maintain a kind of structural arrangement of the individuals in the society. So these are very much important. So coming to the next part, that the human ecology. So so human ecology, what is that? Let's see first. So human ecology, as we everybody knows, that it is about it can be defined as the complex relationship between the people and environment, including the biotic and abiotics. So biotic means a living, and abiotic means non-living components. We know that. So here I would like to mention that, as we discussed earlier, in the different form of societies that exist in the human that has been associated with the human, be it the gathering or hunting society, be it the agricultural society, be it the industrial society, or be it the post-industrial society. So what happened in every society? What happened? The people living in the particular society always interact with the environment. So that's the in any form of the societal aspects what we discussed so far. What we have so far in the course of the human social evolution. So we can say that there is always interaction between the human and the environment. So it is a study of how humans interact with their social and biophysical environments. And it is the interactional pattern of humans and environment, and its subsequent impact on the land, climate, plants, and elements, and reciprocal impacts on humans. So human ecology deals with the population shaping its environment and the vice versa. Important aspect of the human ecology is adaptation. Uh, Besides the biological adaptation, cultural adaptation holds an important part. So here I would say that when you talk about the ecology, so apart from the human ecology, so generally what in the life sciences or in the biological things, we talk about the ecology as a kind of interaction between the biotic and abiotic components. So here environment and the organism, so we talk about here. But here we don't include the cultural elements. But in the human ecology, we are trying to include the cultural elements as a kind of abiotic components. And so in evolution or in this ecological aspect, the important thing is adaptation. So adaptation mainly, so it can be a biological adaptation, it can be cultural adaptation. So biological adaptation, what I said that, say suppose people living in the hot climate or people living in the cold climate, they are different in terms of their body physique. Suppose, as an example, people living in the African region. I mean, African region in the sense that because of the tropical climatic condition, what it happens that the peoples, they used to have slimmer or thinner body, and they are extending their they need larger body surface area to eliminate out the temperature that that build up inside the body. But living in the sorry, but people living in the cold climate, what happens? They have the bulky body, and so why is needed? So that their body needs to be temperature needs to be controlled. That's why they need the bulky body, so that lesser internal body temperature may be controlled. This is very much interesting if you observe carefully. So people living in the cohort climate, again, they have the longer extremities. They have long hands, they have the long legs. But people living in the cold climate, they have the short extremities. And it's the same with the say with the nostrils also. People living in the hot climate, they used to have broad nostrils, and people living in the cold climate, they have the narrow nostrils. So it's very much interesting. So the biological is a part of the biological adaptation. But beside the biological adaptation, what is important is the cultural adaptation. And the recently says that in the process of evolution, the cultural or social adaptation or social cultural evolution holds a very much important. So here, cultural adaptation, what I mean is that suppose if someone is living to a new, completely new environment, a new culture environment, so obviously to external culture, so everything will be new. So he or she has to understand to learn the culture or to adopt the culture of that particular environment. Suppose as an example, so if I have to stay in some other, say in say what say in the Brahmin society, let's say in the Brahmin society. What I'm saying is the example says, suppose in Manipur, I think most of you have already know that we are kind of a fish eater. Like the fish is one of our cultural food items in our society, and generally in our society, in the Manipur society, we can say that fish is something like it's this kind of vegetarian region. uh, what I mean is that so people they if someone has said that the vegetarianism, but they used to eat the fish. Yeah, they may not eat the meat, but they used to consume the fish. So fish is a important component of the food culture in the Meitei society. Suppose so I'm brought up in the Manipur society, so I have adapted to this culture, food culture of this Manipur. But if I have brought up, I have to stay in a completely Brahmin society where completely no fish, no egg, no meat. So maybe in that environment, if I have to survive or I have to stay for a longer period of time, so until unless I adapt to that food environment or food culture of that society, I could not survive. So this is the kind of cultural adaptation is also very much important. So this is a picture showing the kind of human colors, is the population we have, the knowledge, technology, social organization, values. From the in another way here we have the plants, animals, and physical elements like the water, soil, etc. So there is a kind of exchange of energy and material information between this social system and ecosystem. So this whole complex is known as the human colors. So in the human ecology, there are two concepts come up. One is the social ecology and another is the cultural ecology. And the social ecology and the cultural ecology are supposed what I would say they are more or less the same, but only the outlook is different. In the social ecology, it's the study of the man and the nature from the various aspects of the society. It deals with the roles and responsibility of various social institutions in understanding the main environmental relationship. Here, the focus is social institution. So it tries to understand the social, human and the environment relationship through the social institution parameter. So according to the Guha 1994, social ecology has five basic components which can be considered as separate entity. And these five components are ecological infrastructure like the soil, water, forests, economy, the forces of relations of production and trade. So economy is very much important. And social structure, family, kinship, caste, community, and the polity, the relations power, law and state, and the culture, the arts, religion, and ideology. This social ecology, it's a environmentally oriented sociologist ideas of the environment. You can say that it's a sociologist point of view on the environmental science or environmental studies. So he stress, Guha stress on the ecological conflicts, uses and abuses of that the society has inflicted upon by the classes, influences, institutional roles in the main nature interaction and the cultural influences. Social ecology emphasizes on the need of harmonizing various social institutions to bring man-nature interaction meaningful. This is not exactly different from the ecology dealt by the anthropologists, what we call cultural ecology. So what I would suggest that. So it's more or less same. So in the social ecology, what with that is trying to understand the interaction, human interaction uh, from these two different perspective, from the social institution perspective, and it's a social ecology. Coming to the cultural ecology, it's a relationship between environment and technology, the behavior patterns involved, and other cultural features affected by the behavioral pattern or of the use of technology to environments. It's given by the Stewart, 1950. So cultural ecology, in fact, it was proponed by the Julian Stewart in the 1950. So what he believed that the technological development related to culture, so it defined the environment, the interaction with the environment. This is a concept Stewart by given by Stewart. The cultural core in the cultural ecology is economic activities, like in the social ecology also that has economic as a part of the components. But here also in the cultural ecology also, the main core is the economic activities. And uh, so economic activities is why is that is very much important. It's a way of subsistence, and through these economic activities, we rely on the natural resources. Like as I said earlier, in the beginning of the human society, when we are doing the pastoral, where we're doing the hunting, gathering, so we totally rely on the natural resources for the subsistence. But still, in the technological or in the post-industrial or in the agricultural or in the let's say in the industrial society also, we rely on the natural resources also. So this subsistence economy or economy all the time, it has very much related with the environment condition, environmental context. Uh, so it is a branch of ecology dealing with interaction of human society and the natural environment. And according to Kelmeter 1996, cultural ecology was based on the assumption that cultures have evolved within the local environments, that a close analysis of the relationship between a specific cultural institution and their local environment features will reveal how and why those institutions originated and persisted. A society and its cultural values are affected by the mode of adaptation experienced by man in its environment. So it's a human nature and capability to utilize its surrounding environment that changes the cultural and the social apparatus of an area. So here I would like to share an example as a cultural ecological things. I don't know whether most of you have heard or not. So in the Manipur, there is one particular cultural uh, practices we used to follow. It's a Lai Harauba. So Lai Harauba is a kind of it's a cultural festival. You can say it's a celebration to peace to appease the gods or deities. But what's the cultural element is that so generally these Lai Harauba generally they are referred to the Umang Lai, the forest deities. You can say that the Umang Lai, so we call, so they are associated with the sacred grove. So these Lahara practices, what happened, it very much explain about the importance of the ecosystem management in terms of the forest management, where the god or deities has been put up in the forest area or Umang area in Manipur. Umang is forest, I could say. So that interaction has been explained in the Lahara festival. So what happened? The relationship of the human with the lie or the God in particularly Umang Lai. So it's explained to the Laharawa festival. So it's a part of the cultural ecological aspects. So a process to the cultural ecology, how the cultural ecology can be understood. The cultural ecology can be understood from three different points. One is the environmental determinism. So in the environmental determinism, it says that it deals with the role of the environment in determining human society and the culture. It is a prime mover. So environment defines everything. This is the main concept. So it is a prime mover in bringing human affairs in the form of culture and its organization. It brings a structure and change in the religion, government, material culture, personality medias, family, etc., and consequence of the interplay between environment and culture. So the idea is that environment plays an active role in shaping the culture and cultural pattern of a society, whereas culture remains a passive actor. So here the notion is that the environment determines the culture of a society. So this is one a process. So another process is that a society environment has a dynamic nature of settings when people constantly interact with. The actions of individuals, persons are determined by their culture. It can also mold a given environment through its power of thought and learned behavior. So culture becomes the hallmark of possibility. So here the focus is on the culture. So in the first case, environment determinism. What is that? Environment determine the culture, and the cultural determinism. What it means that the culture determine the environment also. At the same time, environment give the facility to mold the culture. So under possibilism, it is considered that cultures are molded by environment but not caused by it. So environment doesn't cause the culture, but environment mold the culture. And likewise, culture mold the environment also. The socio-cultural construct of the main establishes a relationship with organism and the surrounding environment, altering the already existed relationship. So this new wave of life brought certain changes in the cultural behavior of man and its position in the ecological niche. So another concept is the mutual interaction. So both the concept of environmental determinism and cultural determinism may not be true, but what is more important is the interaction from both sides. Environment can influence, at the same time, culture can also influence it. So two-way process is a mutual interaction here. So culture and environment interact mutually, and this concept has become the only solution to understand the complex relations of the man and environment. So instead of considering environment as a determining factor to or human beings shaping environment via culture, it is understood that main environment interaction is in mutually exclusive, mutually constitutive ways. So in this process, culture acts as a mechanism through which human beings as well as other organisms interact with another in a given environment. So through the culture as a medium, the people are changing. So we under the influence of the environment. So these mutual interaction can be understood from two different points. That is one ecosystem approach. Ecosystem approach means that the most important contribution is the promotion of the holistic nature of studying the interaction and pattern of the organism and environment through actions of materials and the flow. That is interactions of the energy flow and actions of the materials between the culture and the environment. That is a homeostasis. It's a maintenance, perfect balance of the both the material, these actions of the materials or energy flow that happens. There is the ecosystem approach. So another approach is a direct procession model, and the culture does not consist of whatever one is supposed to know or believe, but it is a means of making knowledge explicit to all. The role of culture in human environment relation can now be explained as consisting of perception as well as interpretation. It does not produce a variant that give a place within the world. It is culture which expands the meaning and action together. So here in this concept, what happened, the relationship between the environment or the culture or the human, so can be understood through the perception, the cultural perception. So as an we have to understand the cultural perception. So at that context, whatever we can understand the relations between the culture and the environment. This is a one way of mutual interaction. So now the new trends of coming up in the human ecology. So variation, biological variation, as I said, human is a biological species also as well as social species also. So we know that biological variation is here between the humans, and the biological variation is completely natural. We can't control over here, and it's because of the biological variation the evolution has been going on. But the social inequality that we access in our society, as I said earlier, in the class of caste system, this social inequality brings up the exploitation. So throughout the human history, we humans survive through exploitation of the resources. Maybe the human resources, maybe the natural resources, maybe what happened. Like suppose we are doing the deforestation, like we are exploiting the natural resources. So what happens? So exploitation, so it arises because of the inequality. So and the inequality and exploitation, when it arises, the political intervention needs in this context. So here another new concept come up, that is the political ecology. As a worker states that where is the cultural ecology and system of theory emphasize adaptation and homeostasis, political ecology emphasize the role of political economy as a force of adaptation and stability. So it is the study of the environment from the perspective of the political economy. Here, political system. political institution and economic institution also play a key important role. The relations of the individual economy and the political ethos to maintain a social order of the important structure. It consists of political economy, institution, and changes as well as narratives. It focuses on environmental issues as a part of political ground, dealing with the issues like conflicts of the conservation of natural resources, pushing to be livelihood, etc. So, in the concepts of the political ecology, example can be cited on the Narmada Bachao Andolon or the Chipko movement, where the movements of the people has been so loud that the social intervention by the government or by the authority has been met. So this is a part of the political ecology. We can say that. In the conclusion, I would like to say that the procession of the human societies and of their environment is largely driven by the unique culture and the cultural practices. Traditionally, modern ecosystem management has been driven by a scientific or consumption ethics, but this has sometimes led to conflict between culture and conservation. But more recently, there has been a strong recognition that effective ecosystem management can only be achieved through a better understanding and integration of the relations between community and nature. So, ecosystem management cannot be achieved without the cultural ecological part, in fact. So the stark reality is that most societies view and manage ecosystem through a prism detected by long-held cultural beliefs that are sustained through their society sometimes for millennia. The challenges for ecosystem management is that in the changing global environment, most of these long held practices can lead to degradation and the ecosystem, and others can play a very relevant role in promoting biodiversity conservation, but also have in helping society to address the impacts of the climate and change. Here, importance lies that in understanding the human environment relationship from the unique perspective of the community. So, understanding the relationship from the insider's view, not from the outsider's view. So it's very much important in solving such kind of ecological problems. And if possible, intervention from the state as a part of political ecology will be important, considering the social characteristics of the community involved will be important. So this is end of for today's discussion. Uh, so we can have a discussion if we have any kind of question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Yaiphaba. Uh, the RC side, please put off the recording. Put off the recording. RC Delhi too.
Okay,
Please.
sir. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Then now the session is open for discussion, and Yaiphaba, please stop sharing. And before
Okay.
starting the session, all the learners are requested to come on video and show your video so that we can have a group photo. Please come on the video, please. Dr. Sam, Dr. Ram, Tez Koza, Pratap Singh, even RC Delhi too also requested to come on the video so that has to. Pratap Singh, if your gadget
Yes,
allowed,
sir.
yeah, yes, please come on the video. Please show your video. Yeah. We are waiting to you. We are waiting for you, प्रताप जी. आप वीडियो दिखा दीजिएगा. 2 सेकंड के लिए let us take out our that let us take out our marks. Marks निकाल दीजिएगा 2 सेकंड के लिए. Since Pratap Singh is not coming in the video. Okay. Nandini, आप भी please 2 सेकंड के लिए let us take out the marks. Marks. Okay, then the session is open for discussion. Now session is open for discussion. Okay. Any further discussion, please?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you
Yeah.
from RC Delhi too.
Okay, thank you for the well coordination. Any question face Nandini, Pratap, Dr. Ram? Any further discussion? Otherwise, we can wind up the session.
Oh, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay, Nandini, no problem. Okay, I did not know that. That is good. We have to take care of ourselves and others also. Yeah, so see, that is the seriousness of studying some new things. Nandini is attending the session from ICU, so we have to learn a lot of lesson from her. Okay, so with these, thanks all from SYTs on behalf of SYTs. I thank Dr. Yaiphaba, and we are also looking forward for tomorrow's session. Thank you very much. Now we can close the session. Ashu Delhi too, you can close the session. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Ji.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.